Hi, my name is V Darling and I am the founder and creative directrix of Clarity X, a production house and creative community existing at the intersection of art and spirituality as a multifaceted, cross-platform cosmic wellness institution. I'm making this video because Clarity X really needs your help. In fact, we need all the help that we can get. Within the next 13 months, we want to raise at least $150,000 to go legit. What does that mean? Well, it means getting all of our legal stuff above board, getting our paperwork in order, hiring a team, and turning some real estate in Brooklyn into our brick-and-mortar spiritual wellness center, art space, and community hub. I started Clarity X in 2012 when I was 17 years old, but back then it was called Vicious Productions. And the reason for that is because my scene kid name was Viva La Vicious. So in the 9 years it took to become Clarity X, the entire thing was just an experimental journey of doing something, observing impact, and adjusting our methods accordingly. I started this as an artist collaborative geared towards making my friends and my career dreams a reality, and we were completely effective in that regard. Through many trials by fire, we have grown into something I really never suspected that we would, and that is a multidisciplinary production house, a spiritual institution, and a mutual aid organization. The underlying principles were always there, and they're still there. Our guiding philosophy has always been a quote by Jonathan Herrera that reads, "If it is inaccessible to the poor, it is neither radical nor revolutionary." We believed and still believe that art is a human manifestation of the divine and that it has the power to change the world for better. And I think a lot of people really underestimate that. Our intention was always to challenge the dominant paradigm by subverting the institution of art from within and from without, because in the words of my personal hero, Audre Lorde, the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. We wanted to remove not only the gatekeepers, but the gates themselves so that everyone could have access. While we do this through the institution of art, the impact ripples throughout every facet of society. And while these principles and practices are still integral to Clarity X, things changed drastically when the COVID-19 pandemic began causing US cities to go into lockdown in March 2020, starting with our birthplace, New York City. The New York lockdown began about 3 weeks after Clarity X had launched our biggest activation to date at Ace Hotel New York. We had just launched our first product line, which was called Vicious Skin, and that was a series of intentionally crafted body butters that were an offshoot from my energy healing business, which was then called the Sagittarius Woman. I had been sent home indefinitely from the university where I study studio art and filmmaking, Hunter College in the Upper East Side. At the time, a lot of people thought that we would be in lockdown for just 2 weeks and then things would return to normal. Whatever sense of normalcy we're returning to, it would actually be a year and a half before we returned to campus, and as that process is happening right now, I can guarantee you that there's nothing normal about it. Regardless, at the time, I was completely burnt out. I was burning the candle at both wicks. I didn't know how to bring together all of the stuff I was doing, but I knew that it was all incredibly important and very much necessary. So I knew I had to keep doing all of it. I knew also that they were all integral to one another and needed to coexist more holistically, but I just didn't know how to do that. And by some stroke of a miracle, Clarity Care Network did that. I started the Care Network as a way to be of service. I grew up doing a lot of service at my church and at my school. In the county that I grew up in our public school curriculum, we were required to do at least 60 hours of student service before we could graduate. And when I graduated, I got a special cord because I had accrued over 1,000 hours of student service. People think that all of this was about saving everyone else's lives, but it absolutely was not. At this point in the game, I definitely knew that service saved lives, but it was really my own life that needed to be saved. Making our care packages and hand delivering them to first responders and folks struggling in our community kept me grounded. We actually even got care packages all the way out to California, as far south as Georgia, all over the country. And you know, I wasn't doing so well. I don't think that any of us really were. So when I was too freaked out to go to class, which was at least 2 weeks, I still made the herbal remedies we stocked in our care packages, and when I was existentially spiraling, I still showed up to assemble them. Not because people were counting on us, because people gave us tremendous grace and levity, but because I needed to for my own well-being. It was truly a blessing that I was able to extend that opportunity to other folks who felt similarly. And that's really how Clarity Care Network came to be. It's how Vicious Skin became Clarity Apothecary. It's how the Sagittarius Woman became Clarity by V. And ultimately, it's how Vicious Pro became Clarity X. The Care Network brought everything together for us, and it's at the core of everything that we do. It is the glue that holds it all in place. And though we are registering as an LLC, 20% of our profits will always go to sustaining the Care Network. Service will not only happen through the Care Network, it will be present in every facet of what we do, just as it is now. By prioritizing service to the collective in our practice of creating, exhibiting, and distributing art, we move humanist to center, which is pretty radical, because what's at the center of the institution of art in every institution is capital, not very human at all. Through focusing on fostering education and healing, we work to dismantle structures of indoctrination that are very oppressive and alienating. In this way, we don't just give members of our community fish, we teach them how to. As I said, we're raising money to establish a brick-and-mortar care center that would serve as a spiritual wellness hub, an art lab, and a community space. The space would have a full-service cafe with an intentionally crafted food and beverage menu, a co-working space where we will also be able to hold open studio hours for artists, an apothecary stocking crystals, herbs, tarot decks, and all your other metaphysical needs and wants, an esoteric and art book library, a community garden, fridge, closet, and pantry, studios for professional practitioners of the healing arts to work out of. And as a professional practitioner myself, I know how hard it is to find those kinds of spaces, so pretty excited about that aspect of things. A gallery and event space primarily for community programming like art therapy workshops, social reconfiguration incubators, clothing swaps, open mics. We'd also have an art supply library, and I mean, we're dreaming up so much more. If that sounds like a lot, it is, but it's just really a drop in the bucket of what we need as a community for the collective. And to speak to dreaming, I believe that dreaming is a revolutionary act, especially for those in bondage, and in fact, I believe that it underlies all revolutions. At Clarity X, we dream big. We believe that when we align our actions with our dreams, manifestation is inevitable. We hope that you can help us to actualize our dream by donating to our GoFundMe. But if you can't, we completely understand. Times are tough, so we get it. Sharing with 3 members of your personal community is another really great way to assist us in our journey so that we can better show up for you, our community. Because when communities coalesce, anything is possible. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for donating. Thank you so much for sharing, and be well.